Maid in Malacañang versus Katips. At least, according to the internet, it's historical revision versus an accurate portrayal of history. A controversial director known for movies like When I Grow Up, I Wanna Be a Porn Star, and Porn Star 2, Pangalawang Patok. Versus a movie that was nominated for 17 FAMAS awards. Basically, trash versus treasure. Pero ganun ba talaga? I actually watched both movies last weekend, and this is the honest truth. Let's get ready to rumble. Is Maid in Malacañang really that bad? Oo. Hoy mga Pinoy, ito na ang medisina. Joke lang. But if I'm being honest, this is probably the worst movie I've ever seen in theaters. To be fair, halatang malaki yung budget ng pelikula, and the cinematography, sound design, production design especially, and editing was pretty decent. But you know the phrase, you can't put lipstick on a pig? Well, I guess you can. Pero kahit anong makeup lagay mo, baboy pa rin, di ba? And that's what this movie is. Sobrang sayang lang ng production value kung sobrang sama naman ng story, dialogue, and especially the acting. Cause this movie really has no story. It's basically just 2 hours of Daryl Yap trying to convince you that the Marcoses were good people. It tries to explain controversial issues regarding the Marcoses, at sobrang labo yung explanations niya. Like let's say, one of the first scenes in the movie, there's this huge bag of cash. Tapos sabi nila, ay, hindi yan bribe. Para lang sa mga abala ng mga tao. What? It also tries to explain why the people were so mad. Bakit sobrang galit ng mga tao sa mga Marcos? They repeat throughout the movie na biased ang media. But I think it's really from Marcos's mouth that we see what the explanation of the movie really is. Sabi niya, nagalit yung mga tao dahil hindi sila elitista. Na mga probinsyano lang daw sila. Even though I'm pretty sure none of the kids are fluent in Ilocano. In the movie, Aimee has this one scene where she speaks in Ilocano, but I don't think that's something she can do in real life. The film also tries to convince you that the Marcoses are good through their maids. Pinapakita nila na victim ang mga maid ng mga taong gusto ng kapangyarihan. At dahil inuulit-ulit ng mga maids na mababait na tao raw ang kanilang mga amo, through association, it feels like they're saying dahil biktima ang mga maid, edi biktima rin ang mga amo nila, so ang mga Marcos. Actually, a lot of the movie is just the maid saying na ang bait ng mga Marcos. Ma'am, bakit naman may fur coat kami? Mga maid lang kami. Hindi porket maid kayo, hindi kayo pwedeng magsuot ng fur coat. I love you po, ma'am. But the movie really reinforces the Marcos propaganda. Yung mga pinapasabi nila sa mga trolls nila sa social media. Sobrang sinungaling ng media, na isang war hero na sobrang daming medal si Marcos, na siya yung best president ever. I can honestly go on and on about the lies in the movie. Pero mas okay siguro kung basahin nyo na lang yung sinabi ng mga historian tulad ni Ambeth Ocampo. I'll link his article in the description. But I'll stick to my strengths and talk about the movie. And the acting, which was honestly very, very awful. Diego Loizaga plays Bongbong Marcos, and this is probably the worst performance I've ever seen. And keep in mind, we've reviewed Richie Rivero's acting here on the channel, and honestly, Richie was a little bit better than Diego here. I mean, in fairness, Richie's acting didn't require as much emotion, but still, Diego's acting here is what I call sipon acting. Emotional scene, tapos wala siyang tears, pero parang sipon lang. Gusto ko lang naman na proud ka sa akin. Halata rin na medyo Englishero si Diego, and that's fine. Si Bongbong din naman Englishero. But the script is in Tagalog. But that's not his fault. It's really the writing. Actually, sobrang konti lang ng part niya sa movie. He really only has one scene. But the scene was actually really, really fun to watch. This was the one scene na nag-enjoy ako ipanood. Kasi basically, pinapagalitan lang si Bongbong ng tatay niya. Sabi daw ni Senior na puro party lang daw si Junior. Puro siya kasayahan, puro siya nasa club lang palagi, kaya wala siyang alam. Wala siyang alam, kaya wala siyang maiaambag. And honestly, kung buhay pa si Ferdinand Marcos Sr. ngayon, parang ganun yung sasabihin niya kay Bongbong, diba? I think this scene was trying to make Marcos Jr. seem relatable. Na gusto lang niya maging proud yung tatay niya sa kanya. And they reference a real-life journal entry from Marcos Sr. saying na tingin niya na medyo may pagkakulang nga si Bongbong sa kanyang kakote. Tinatry ng pelikula na ipakita na hindi nga disappointment si Bongbong, pero sa scene na to, parang disappointment talaga siya. And it's just funny to me that a man who only became president because of his dad is played by a person who only got the role because of his dad. And I guess compared to the guy who played Bongbong, Imelda and Irene weren't so bad. Rufa Gutierrez as Imelda was okay in the scenes na kailangan niya maging magastos, maging extravagant, pero doon sa mga scenes na kailangan niyang umiyak, maging emotional, para siyang nagpapatawa kahit seryoso naman. And Ella as Irene seemed whiny and annoying and honestly a little bit clueless. Pero sa tingin ko, mas nasa writing yun ng character kaysa sa acting niya. But of course, we have to talk about the man who plays Marcos Sr., Cesar Montano. We all know he's a good actor because we've seen him in movies like Jose Rizal. But from our national hero, he plays this watered-down version of Marcos. The old, sick version of Marcos who's written to be gullible, masyadong mabait, at umaasa lang kay Amy. Sa tingin ko, kung buhay pa si Marcos, he would hate the way his character was written. For the lack of a better term, sobrang supot ng character niya. In real life, Marcos was intelligent, charismatic, and ruthless. That's what made him such a scary leader. And I think Cesar Montano could have done that version of Marcos a lot of justice. But because the character differs so much from the real history, I think we're robbed of a good Cesar Montano performance. The only decent acting performance we got was Christine Reyes as Amy Marcos. And I actually understand why she took the role. It's basically her movie. In real life, the real Amy Marcos actually produced it, so I guess it makes a lot of sense. But going into the movie, I thought it was some kind of bongbong propaganda to make him look good. But if I'm being honest, he looks pretty dumb in this movie. I don't know why Amy wrote her brother this way and herself as like the mastermind, the brains of the Marcos family. Na kung wala siya, wala silang magagawa. In one of the first scenes of the movie, kakarating lang niya sa Singapore pero pinauwi siya agad ng tatay niya kasi kailangan na kailangan daw siya. Walang magagawa si Ferdy at Imelda kung wala si Amy. And lastly, sa tingin ko, masyadong maganda si Christine Reyes. Please, tell me, saan yung resemblance? At least like Rufa Gutierrez, kaya pa, pwede pa maging Imelda. But Amy? Where's the crimson chin?
Here comes the crimson chin!
So far, at least at the time I'm recording this video, wala pang Razzie Award sa Pilipinas. Wala pa mga award na binibigay sa mga pinakamasamang pelikula sa Pilipinas. But if we did have Razzie Awards in the Philippines, I would give Worst Supporting Actor to Diego Loizaga as Bongbong Marcos, and then Daryl Yap would get Worst Original Screenplay, and then whoever was in charge of the music definitely deserves Worst Musical Score. So those are the bad awards, but what about good ones? The movie didn't get any, but Amy got a FAMAS award. This year, she was an exemplary awardee for public service. Amy won an honorary award, while the movie that went against her family won 7 awards. I'm talking, of course, about Katips, a film that dominated the FAMAS awards with 17 different nominations. But does that mean that the movie was perfect and amazing and the best movie in Philippine history? Honestly, no. To be fair, this film had a lot less budget than Maid in Malacañang. And the hard truth is, I feel like it didn't deserve all the awards that it got. Don't get me wrong, as a musical, it definitely deserved all the music awards. But when it comes to cinematography, I would have to say no. And even the nominations, I feel like some weren't really deserved. Like editing, visual effects, and sound. Sound being a bit of an asterisk because it sounded good, pero sobrang halata kasi na-dubbed yung mga actors. And that's fine for some of it because they're doing songs at sobrang imposible naman na kantahin lahat ng mga songs live. But in the scenes where they're just talking, sobrang halata na dubbed sila. Especially the character of Lara. I think because she's supposed to have an American accent, parang hindi totoo yung boses niya. There's something off about it. And speaking of Lara, I had lots of problems with her character. So for context, in the movie, Lara is the daughter of a UP professor na leader ng mga nagrarally. And then a few days after he's killed, dumating si Lara sa Pilipinas. She's this Broadway actress from America na bulag sa realidad ng Pilipinas kasi raw lahat ng news sa America pro-Marcos. And I think it was really smart to have a character like this. Dahil sa kanya, napag-usapan ng pelikula ang role ng America sa martial law. How they continued to back Marcos despite all the human rights violations para lang kumita sila at manatili yung mga military base nila sa Pilipinas at marami pang iba. I don't think another film has talked about America's involvement in the martial law era, so it was great that this movie did that. Kasi sa tingin ko, maraming hindi alam to. But at the same time, this character opens up a lot of plot holes. First, she's the daughter of the head of the rallyists. Bakit hindi niya sinabihan yung anak niya yung katotohanan? Also, for a big part of the movie, she doesn't know her dad's dead. For some reason, hindi siya sinabihan ng mga kaibigan niya. And when they finally tell her, sobrang supot ng pagkasabi sa kanya. Walang ka-tension-tension. Compared to if she found out for herself, and that became her political awakening. Pero hindi, sinabi rin sa kanya, tapos sinabi niya, nalalaban siya para sa tatay niya. But we never hear about the dad again. He's never even mentioned in the rest of the movie. Okay, to be fair, some of the faults of the movie are because it was based on a musical. And there are things you can do in a musical that you can't really do in a movie. Sa theater, maraming pwede sa plot na sabihin lang, kumpara sa pelikula na kailangan talaga ipakita. And that's a question I had for a lot of the movie. Tama ba na ginawang musical ang pelikula? At the start, my answer was no. Medyo cheesy yung first part ng pelikula. Meron silang dance sequence sa bundok. Pero sa gitna, sobrang seryoso naman. At times, hindi ko na nga maseryoso kasi sobrang weird ng kinakanta pero dapat maangas. Especially this one scene ng isang Metrocom dude. Sobrang angas niya, may balbas siya. Tapos sinabi niya, puputulin ko ang bayag mo. Diba namang hindi ko maseryoso? But a little later on, nakita ko na sobrang bagay nga yung medium na musical. Music is supposed to represent overwhelming emotion. Yung sobrang grabe yung nararamdaman mo na hindi na sapat ang salita lang. Kailangan mong ikanta. And we saw this in the torture scenes. Doon sa lowest point nila, yung tipong malapit na sila mamatay, kumakanta sila. At ramdam na ramdam mo yung emotion. And honestly, dito ako naiyak. Tsaka dun sa scene kung saan nakita ni Panyong ang bangkay ng girlfriend niya, sobrang ganda ng acting niya. Maybe the best acting I've seen in a movie since Jay Glorioso in Rabid. Grabe yung emosyon niya sa buong eksena, and especially when he starts singing. Ramdam na ramdam mo talaga. And Panyong is played by Vince Tañada, who's not only an actor, but the producer, the writer of the movie, and the writer of the original musical, and the songs. So halatang gusto niya talagang ilabas ang pelikula, with the goal to honor the memory of martial law victims. And the film actually starts and ends sa Bantayog ng Bayani, the place that honors martial law martyrs. That's why the movie is called Katips, kasi sila ang bagong katipunero. And you see this in the audience reaction. So the question is, can these two movies coexist? Easy answer is no. Well, I guess not a hard no. Because in both movies, Enrile is the bad guy. I guess ganyan talaga pag turncoat ka. Arguably the biggest turncoat in Philippine history. I think when all is said and done, it's gonna be Enrile and then Paterno, close second. In Katips, he's the architect of martial law. The Metrocom actually name drops him to justify the threats that they give to a bunch of nuns and a priest. And in Maid and Malacañang, he's this ungrateful traitor, the Marcos protege who went rogue. And in real life, after a couple of controversies and 172 million peso kickback thanks to Napoles and the pork barrel scam, he's back with the Marcoses. And he's currently Bongbong's chief legal counsel. If I'm a betting man, I feel like he'll switch one more time just to get into heaven. But knowing that he's immortal, that's probably gonna be a long time after anyone watching this is dead. But aside from Enrile, these movies don't agree at all. I mean, let's take the question, bakit galit ang mga Pilipino? For Maid and Malacañang, it's the media's fault. And according to Marcos himself in the movie, dahil daw hindi sila elitista, dahil daw probinsyano sila, which honestly has no logic because you see in the movie how they flaunt Gucci suitcases and their jewelry. And even in the movie, sobrang bobo ng pagkasabi. It's Irene and Ferdinand talking, and Ferdinand asks, masama ba akong tao? And I couldn't help myself. And I just said, oo. People were looking at me weird, but wala talaga. Kailangan ko sabihin eh. And for Katips, the reason is dahil sa mga nakaw ng mga Marcos. Dahil kinuha nila yung pera ng taxpayers. Dahil binaon nila ang Pilipinas sa utang para sa mga walang kwentang infrastructure na pinayaman lang ang kanilang sarili at ang kanilang mga crony. At sa Katips, maganda ang pagkasabi. Si Lara nagpipiano siya and then the characters are speaking over the music. Freestyle lang tungkol sa mga problema nila at kahit alam nating may script, ramdam na ramdam pa rin na may hugot sila. Alright, so what does this mean for the future of Filipino films? Well, as someone who loves Philippine cinema, I'm happy that there's so much interest in Filipino films, even if it is because of this war of cultures. 3 months after the elections, but it's still pro-Marcos versus anti-Marcos. And sad to say, the Marcoses are winning this propaganda game. If we take the words of Arnolfo Teves, siya yung Marcos simp who wanted to rename NAIA to the Ferdinand Marcos International Airport, sabi niya na kung may bisa pa yung EDSA, hindi mananalo si BBM. Ibig sabihin, wala nang bisa yung EDSA. It's no longer significant to the people today. And granted, he is an idiot, and the same idiot who wanted to make ghosting a criminal offense, pero may point siya. Nanalo si Marcos. And these two movies cater to two different sides. Maid in Malacañang reinforces the anti-elitista image, the makamasa approach, na mabait at religious ang mga Marcos. Kahit sila ang pinaka-elitista, pinaka-extravagant, at mukhang walang pakialam sa Diyos. Para sa Katips naman, activists are heroes. Tama na ipaglaban ang mga oppressed. Tama ipaglaban ang mga prinsipyo mo. Something that the other side will call pa-woke. And they'll say na yung mga taong to hindi marunong mag-respect ng opinion. So, Katips won't appeal to the Maid in Malacañang audience, just like Maid in Malacañang won't appeal to the Katips audience. But for Maid in Malacañang, that's fine. It's basically a celebration of their victory. It's them saying, ina nyo, nanalo kami, pwede namin gawin kahit anong gusto namin. At para sa Katips na pinaglalaban ang katotohanan, hindi enough ang mga FAMAS award kapag hindi manunood ang kabilang side. Of course, I commend the intention na kalabanin ang Maid in Malacañang at kinokomment ko yung effort ng director. Sobrang grabe yung ginawa niya para lang ipalabas ang pelikula. And I also think the movie has some good moments and a really good message na pwedeng umusbong ang pagmamahal at pag-asa sa gitna ng kadiliman. And I'm happy that Katips is getting lots of attention. Happy ako na puro sold out ang mga sinehan nung pinalabas ang Katips. And hopefully this means that other filmmakers will step up in the fight for truth. Because in the words of the UP film professor Nick De Ocampo, to take hold of the camera is to take hold of the narrative. And hopefully, someone makes a martial law movie that's truthful but will also appeal to the Maid in Malacañang audience. Because if we think about a movie like Henra Luna, that everyone saw regardless of their political beliefs, kahit hindi intentional, it's a big reason why Duterte won the presidency. That's why I believe na art ang magpapamulat sa mga tao. It can turn the tide in this war against disinformation. Movies, songs, but also creative content on social media. TikToks and Facebook videos that are entertaining but also the truth. So hopefully, if all the content creators, all the filmmakers, musicians keep fighting, one day we'll live in the Philippines where the bad guys aren't on top. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know some of you expected me to just hate on Maid in Malacañang and praise Katips, but that's not what we do on the channel. We say real, honest opinions about movies, and we stick to it. Kasi yung pinakaayaw ko ay yung mga taong hindi nag-iisip. And if I just praised anything anti-Marcos, that would make me isang tao na hindi nag-iisip. Diba? Kaya mag-isip tayong lahat. So if you like this content, I hope you can subscribe and be a member on the channel. This video will probably be demonetized because anything about Marcos gets demonetized. Donating as little as 50 pesos will go a long way in helping me create these videos for you guys. But as always, shout out to the Mother Lily channel members, Ashley Martolino and Ma'am Gay Ace Domingo. Thank you so much for your support. But till next time, peace and I love y'all.
Hoy mga Pinoy, ito na ang medisina, nagbabagong apoy, linagyan ng gasolina, kaya't tinatanong pa ba kung kanino at sino ang tiyak na puntahan sa kulturang Pilipino? Ako na ang sagot, ang dakilang gamot.